What up? What's going on, everybody? Yo, yo, yo. Yo, yo, yo. Yo. I don't know. Good morning. Hope everybody had a good weekend. Back at it, dude. Another new week, man. Um, doing Dave the Diver again today. Who knows, man? We might keep doing a little bit of Exo Primal moving forward. We'll see. We'll see. It's it's got more potential now that I know that they've got more modes within the only mode that you can select after you get through story. It's still a weird situation. I don't know why they implemented it that way, but we might do some more Exo Primal as we move forward just to keep seeing what else we get into as we move forward, because as far as I can tell, who knows, there might be even more that we unlock as we keep doing story and stuff, you know? What's up, Ferret? How you doing, buddy? So, we might keep doing a little bit of Exo Primal and as we move forward, but today's back to Dave the Diver. That'll be good, you know? This game's an absolute banger. It is right up there, game of the year contention for me, and so we'll keep plugging away today at Dave the Diver after we do video gaming news, man. I've already seen there's some big news on the front. We got some stuff to talk about this morning. And it's actually pretty funny news, to be honest. If you guys haven't heard, it'll be one of the first things we touch on here in the news. There are going to be a lot of people that are happy. To me, it's just really funny. It's really funny. What up, Davey? What's going on, buddy? How you doing, man? Yeah. I understand that, Ferret. Yeah. I mean, it's not something I definitely don't see it being something long term for me. I still think that they've got something decent in the core of the game, but it needs to be fleshed out more. I was really, really turned off by how bleak it looked originally. I mean, dude, I had to play 2 days of the game before I saw anything different, which is weird. That was really weird. People's attention span is not. Most people's attention span is not that patient. You know, it's not. They need variety. They need something new to keep them entertained and you know, in a piece of software, right? And for me, man, spending 2 full days streaming that game, playing that game, for it to just be an escort mission every single time was like, I didn't understand what was going on. I was really kind of, I mean, for lack of a better word, I guess flabbergasted, you know, by the fact that that's all I was getting. It was really weird. I mean, I think now that I've finally, luckily I read some news, and it was like, just keep playing it as you unlock more story. You'll unlock some more game modes. But the thing that's weird is they don't even let you choose. You know, I think they would have been better off doing something more in a capacity of some legitimate, real nice, dedicated PvE stuff with a group, you know. Get that figured out. Make it fairly, you know, intense. And on the flip side of that, still incorporate that PvEVP side of things too. I think, you know, there are a lot of games that do that well. Destiny's one of them. You know what I mean? I think they would have been a lot better off where they if they would have just implemented and fleshed out that side of this game a little bit more, because I think the core of what they have is something decent, but it still feels a bit shallow, especially for what they want people. If you're not playing it on a subscription service, for what they want people to be paying for it, and for as heavy, you know, microtransaction wise as it is, you know, it's a bit weird. It's a bit weird. So, I don't know. let's dive into this news, man, and then we'll play Dave the Diver. Like I said, we'll probably keep playing Exo Primal a little bit. It probably I don't really see it being a long term play for us in the channel or anything, but you know, it's Game Pass, and until I have something else to really take it over, we'll probably play it for a couple or a few weekends or something, just see how it goes. You know what I mean? Let's get in here. Let's get in here and see what we got. I don't know why the music's not popping off anymore. That's weird. What we were listening to was Loop Hero. Awesome little roguelike game. Highly recommend checking it out. And it's got a really, really cool soundtrack too. So go check that out as well. All right. Let's get into this news. So here it is, guys. Right off the bat this morning. Sony has agreed to a 10-year Call of Duty deal with Microsoft. Funny how that works, right? Funny how that works. And you know who this makes look? This makes Phil Spencer and Xbox and Microsoft look great. This makes them look awesome. And let's just take a moment and let's talk about how the shoe bit on the other foot, as it were. Do you think that PlayStation would have offered this to Xbox had this been the other way around? Had this been the other way around, and Sony went to purchase Activision Blizzard, and the whole entire time Microsoft and Xbox tried to block it and tried to act like it was anti-competitive and turned down a bunch of 10-year deals in the first place, do you think that Sony would have went back to Xbox and gone, we won, but it's okay. We'll offer you another deal. It's all right. We'll offer you another deal. You think they would have done that? I doubt it. I absolutely doubt it. Right? And here we go. You know, so I mean this makes Microsoft and Xbox look really good, and good for them, dude. Good for them. I mean, I've been saying for a while, like I think the console side of the gaming industry is pretty scummy, honestly. It's gotten pretty gross. I know a lot of you that hang out here and are a big part of the community and everything. You know how I feel about that. Especially over about the past, like, 5 to 7 years. It's gotten pretty disgusting. And but I will say that I think that of all of them, Xbox is probably the one that appeals the most to me because of they seem like a company that is still somewhat invested in being a gaming company to some extent. They have some kind of focus on consumer, um, not just money, which is the way it should be. Yeah, you got to make money, yeah. But if you take care of your consumer, you're going to make money also. And the other ones just seem like that's all they care about is money, dude. It's just money, money, money. I posted a video yesterday about how bad it feels out of our news segment, how bad it feels is just another example. Sony finally coming out with Project Leonardo, which is their accessibility controller that they've been working on, which is going to cost $90 retail, right? So $90 retail for their accessibility controller, which is still what, $20 to $30 over what a normal controller costs. I mean, I get it. It's business and everything, but man, you're talking about trying to do something to help people with disabilities get into gaming, get into being able to enjoy the world of video games, and then you're going to charge them $30 more than what it costs for one of your normal controllers. So there's another obstacle on top of what disabled people have to deal with already. Now they also have to pay more money for the controller they might need to play your games than what normal people have to pay for a stereotypical regular DualSense 5 controller, you know. It's that kind of stuff, man. It's like, could they not have found a way to get the price down to something comparable, something level to a normal DualSense controller? You know what I mean? To help those people out that need that accessibility. It just feels bad, dude. It's that kind of stuff that I see all the time that just is like, man, they don't really care about their player base and their take the stars program for instance too. You know, I mean, there's a lot of stuff that happens, but um, even though so Davey, even though Xbox has Game Pass always being second place when it comes to the so-called on exclusive content, well, that's why this acquisition's such a big deal too, though, dude. Because, well, and I mean, so everybody knows that Xbox has always been behind. They've always been behind. They've always sold roughly half the hardware that any of the other console uh, players have. That's not a secret. Everybody knows that. That's why Xbox has always had to be creative and inventive to maintain some kind of competitive stature in the industry against Sony and Nintendo, which is why their subscription service is what it is, and their cloud gaming service, you know. And that's why I've said here recently, I think that they should honestly pivot away from traditional hardware. I think that their platform and their services nowadays really play much better into a piece of hardware more like the Steam Deck or the ROG Ally or the Switch or whatever, where it can play that dual role. I don't think they need to be doing traditional hardware anymore. I think that something more like a dual role piece of hardware that plays that mobile as well as it can be docked and played as a traditional console. I think that's the best thing that Microsoft could do right now. So, and I mean, you want to say second place in the console wars? Dude, they're third place in the console wars. They are behind Nintendo and PlayStation. People don't like to throw Nintendo in there, but Nintendo's a console player too. And I know that it's a weird thing to think about, but because Nintendo's in their own little niche area, and because quite often when you think about the competition, it's usually PlayStation versus Xbox, because those two don't really compete on the same kind of in the same area as Nintendo. But when it really comes down to it, they're third in the console wars. But that's why they've changed their business strategy. And this changes things for them. And I mean, that's why they have changed. So it's not a secret. They're not necessarily trying to outsell Sony or Nintendo with on that same front anymore. They haven't for a while. They're changing the way they do things, and that's why this acquisition's such a big deal, and that's why Sony didn't want it to happen. It's a scary thing for them. It's a very, very scary thing for them. There's a reason why this acquisition costs so much money, right? So it's not going to be something that immediately changes the game, because there are a lot of 10-year deals out there and everything. Not that Microsoft and Xbox aren't still going to make money off those 10-year deals, but as we move forward, this is going to be a big game changer. So it's not going to be an immediate, noticeably, kind of thing that changes the way the competition works in the console industry. But I guarantee you, man, you give it a little bit of time, this is going to change the way that Xbox and PlayStation and even Nintendo compete in different ways. So, this is a huge, huge thing. And Sony's going to have to change. They're not going to be able to just sit back and do the same thing they've always done anymore. They're going to have to come up with more inventive, creative ways to compete now, because this is a huge thing. That's what I've been saying the whole time. Sony's been trying to act like this whole thing was anti-competitive, when really what it was Sony and PlayStation didn't want to have to. They didn't want to have to find new ways to compete. They wanted to just sit back on their haunches like they've been doing and just stay ahead and do the same thing they've always done. And now that this has happened, it is going to change things. They're going to have to play more of the game that Xbox has played for so long, and finding inventive, creative ways to compete against Xbox now. They've kind of switched the game up on them a little bit. Well, yeah, probably not. Probably not. This isn't just something about console stuff, though. That's not all this is about, right? So Sony doesn't have the same kind of platforms to make this kind of acquisition work to their full benefit like Microsoft and Xbox does. I mean, the whole theoretical Sony buying Activision Blizzard thing was just to show, like, I doubt that Sony would have approached Xbox just because knowing what their business is and the way they do things. I was just trying to show that, like, I doubt they would have been as nice after the fact, right? But no, I absolutely agree. I don't think Sony would have bought or even tried to buy Activision Blizzard because it doesn't fit what they need. They can't make use of it the way that Microsoft and Xbox can, So, yeah, get those random motes in there. The big thing that this does for, and really Xbox and Microsoft have set themselves up for this already to be a big deal, right? Because first and foremost, what Ferret just touched on a little bit there is Xbox and Microsoft are both console and PC, right? And that's where this plays very well, because Activision has always been heavier console side. Blizzard has always been heavier PC side. That portfolio together is a great mashup of the portfolio is huge for both sides of console gaming and PC gaming. And in today's age, where we're getting very good developers, getting very good at cross-platform, you know what I mean? This also plays well for them in that capacity. So they've got their cloud gaming service, they've got their Game Pass subscription service, they have their console stuff still, which will remain a thing, but that's not their cash cow. That's not their golden goose. It hasn't been for a long time. So if people think that, like, people are like, oh, well, this isn't really going to change anything. Well, no, it's not going to on the console side of things necessarily, because that was never the plan for this. Another reason why this is a big deal is because Microsoft is trying to open their own app shop to compete with Apple and Google, right? And this gives them a huge portfolio to work with just to begin, right? Because they've already got a lot of mobile games. You're talking about King, the maker of Candy Crush and all that, is under that Activision Blizzard umbrella, right? So there are a lot of things people have to take into consideration here. And it is going to change the console competition. It's not going to be immediately visible. It's not going to be right away, but you will see it. It will happen. There's a lot of different things that Microsoft and Xbox are going to be able to do with this portfolio. And that's the big win for them. It's everything they're going to be able to do with what they've set themselves up to be nowadays outside of just console that makes this acquisition such a big deal. Well, and I think that's what sets them up to be successful nowadays, though, right? What you want to see out of businesses is progression and learning from their mistakes. And if Microsoft has done that, they will do well with this, right? One moment. So, I mean, that's one of those other things I said before. I mean, we're talking about, obviously, this is Activision Blizzard too. This is a company that, in my opinion, whenever the news first broke, dude, at the beginning of last year, that this acquisition was potentially a thing. Sorry for the interruption there. One of my first sentiments was, I can't really think of a better company to take over Activision Blizzard and hopefully turn it around a little bit, because that the same thing that you're talking about right there, Ferret, with did the issues they've dealt with their phone and app shop and stuff like that. They've had their own internal struggles with mismanagement, and they've had to work through those issues. They've had to find out better ways to run their organization, things like that. And I think that, and I'm hopeful that Microsoft taking over Activision Blizzard turns Activision Blizzard into a better organization. Because, I mean, you guys know how I feel about Blizzard. I mean, Blizzard turned into something that I won't even play their free games anymore because I just can't stand them, from somebody that just, I mean, that was like my favorite developer as a youngster, and so my hope is that Microsoft comes in, takes them over, and actually does a pretty solid job, but there's a lot of if, when, how, kinds of scenarios as to like what this acquisition. I mean, there's a lot of potential, but Microsoft still has to, utilize it to its full potential, and that's something we've got to see if they can actually do, right? So, I mean, it's there, like we've been talking about right now. It's there. We know that like this is a big flipping deal. Obviously, if you couldn't tell by how much this acquisition costs, we haven't seen anything near this magnitude on the front of like acquisitions in the gaming industry. Not even close. I mean, you talk about maybe some of the closer ones were like ZeniMax, when Microsoft bought ZeniMax for what, a little bit under 10 million. What did Sony buy Bungie for? Sony bought Bungie for what, 6-7 bill? Is that correct? Something like that. Maybe it was like closer to 5 or 6. I can't remember. There have been some big ones. I mean, you talk about billions of dollars, and this acquisition makes those look small, right? So there's honestly, obviously, there's a lot of gravity around what this can mean for Microsoft, but Microsoft's got to do a good job with it too. It's all about how do they put all that they are getting out of this acquisition into action. How do they make use of it the right way? But I think it starts with going into Activision Blizzard, dude, and turning that company around too. Bobby Kotick's got to go, dude. Forget about that, bro. That's your div, dog. There's other big ones too. Those are just two of the big ones that came to mind right then. But it's if Microsoft, and going back to what Davey said, I think that if, as long as Microsoft, and I really don't think they're going to have an issue with this, but as long as Microsoft and Xbox put everything they're getting out of this acquisition into action the right way, it is going to be a huge, huge changing thing for the gaming industry as a whole. It will change things for the gaming, like the console side of the industry too, but on the entire front of gaming, it is a huge catalyst for change. And if they do it right, you'll see a lot of things run different. It's going to be a big deal, man. Is that what it was? 3.60. I was over by a bit. Yeah. Thanks, man. Thanks. Not for nothing. That's still a lot of money. Still a lot of money. But it just shows you the gravity of it, right? I mean, you're talking about $69 billion. It's crazy, dude. So we'll talk about that. It is funny that now Sony. I can't believe Microsoft even offered it to him. You know, I would love to know the details of it. It makes, dude, that makes Xbox and Microsoft look so good. And if people aren't just like laughing about this and laughing at Sony over this, I'd be surprised. I am. Phil Spencer reveals binding agreement to keep Call of Duty on PlayStation. We'll look at that too. It's crazy, dude. Yo, BattleBit Remastered's coming to Steam Deck, guys. Yeah, this is a banger of a little game. If you're into like Battlefield, this game is made by three developers. A three-person development team, excuse me. A three-person development team. It's an indie dev. And they absolutely nailed this. This game's a lot of fun. It's very cool. It's a poly, so it's not like, a realistic looking game or anything. It's a poly version of Battlefield, but dude, it plays really well. The gunplay is nice, lots of different weapons, ranking up and everything, and it feels cool, dude. It's a good game. It's really nice. We talked about this yesterday. Assassin's Creed Mirage and OWO are coming out with a haptic shirt. It's wireless. This wireless haptic shirt that apparently is supposed to allow you to feel the in-game actions of doing like all your parkour and combat stuff or whatever. It's kind of wild. Kind of wild. It's out there. I talked about it yesterday in the news segment, so I don't know. If you're interested, go check it out or look at yesterday's news segment, Yeah. Yeah, Crash Bandicoot, Tony Hawk can become Xbox exclusives despite the new Call of Duty deal. Yeah. Yep. Future Activate. Look, I mean, this is the thing that people have to take into consideration here. They're from the Activision. This is another thing to talk about here, and I guess I should pull up this real quick so we can talk about it a little bit more. But the portfolio that of IPs that Microsoft and Xbox are bringing in off of this deal, and I've said this previously, is mind blowing. And you're not just talking about current games. There are IPs that have been dormant, if you will, or that haven't had a new release in a while, that fans have been asking for a while, that gives Microsoft a huge opportunity to revamp. And this is just another area in which, if Microsoft does well, they have so much potential with this acquisition. Oh, for real? Wild Ferret. Nice, dude. What all applications did it work with? Was it specific to like gaming, or I'm guessing because you got it from Land Wars, right? FPS games? Yeah, wild. That's weird, dude. I feel like it would be too distracting for me. I wouldn't mind like checking it out, trying it out, seeing what it was like and everything. But just to wear it on the constant, I don't know. It could actually be a cool, kind of cool indicator for like if it was really good at giving you little like nudges in different areas of where you're getting shot from and stuff like that. It could be really cool for that though, you know. Oh, really? That's neat, dude. That's neat. Nice. That's cool. Right. Right. Yeah. Phil Spencer spotted playing Starfield. Yo, those are the perks. Am I wrong? Those are the perks of being Phil Spencer, right? Yeah. When you're Phil Spencer and you're the head of Xbox or the CEO of Microsoft Gaming, excuse me, then you know, you get to maybe play games before anybody else does, really. So that's that's cool. Yo, dude, I mean, I've said this for a long time. Phil Spencer is a gamer, dude, and I think that I think he enjoys the job he has because of that fact. Sorry. I think he's a gamer at heart, dude, like all the rest of us are. Gaming enthusiasts, and I think he's a good business minded individual. But I think in his heart of hearts, he's just a gamer, dude. You know, and I think that's why he's so appealing to me as the head of Xbox's gaming, and it gives us a prominent figure to look at when it comes to gaming for Microsoft that is really one of us, you know. But that's a nice little perk there, dude. That's a cool perk. We talked about this. Yeah, I mean, so we're going to talk about it, but this makes sense, right? Like, so the non Call of Duty franchises that are part of what Xbox and Microsoft will be getting in the acquisition, a lot of those very prominent ones, even some of these that have traditionally been PlayStation exclusives and stuff, will now not be PlayStation games anymore. Call of Duty is one that, you know, probably makes a lot of sense for Microsoft to make multi platform. There's a lot of this stuff that they still, what they're pulling out of this acquisition. There are a lot of very popular IPs that make sense for them to play the whole proprietary game, first party game. If you want to play this, you can play it on Xbox, PC, or Game Pass, right? So you talk about Crash and Tony Hawk and stuff like that. Um, they'll bring a lot of this kind of stuff out and they'll say this is where you can play it. Not on PlayStation, not on Nintendo. And this is where, that's why this acquisition is so huge outside of even Call of Duty, because there's a lot of popular stuff. A lot of the Blizzard stuff too. Even Davey was talking about the other day. I wonder if they'll, be able to bring World of Warcraft to like console and stuff. Dude, I would be surprised if they weren't already trying to figure that out, Um, so it could be multi-platform on, Game Pass as for PC and their Xbox console and stuff, right? Um, because it's a subscription service game right now, right? But if you can get people to pay that subscription to be on the subscription service and play World of Warcraft at the same time, then that's just another win for them. It's things like that, right? So we're just gonna have to see how it works. They want those numbers on their subscription service, and any way they can make that happen, you know, that's a good deal for them. Steam users can grab 4 free games right now with no subscription. Yeah. 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 I mean, it's funny how somebody probably would, you know? I mean, the day and age we're in with gaming now, and how often we see like all these. I mean, there's so many fits being thrown about the games being first party. Whether it be Starfield, like these petitions that have come up because Final Fantasy 16 was first party PlayStation or Starfield's first party Xbox, and it's like, have people been sleeping under a rock, dude? I mean, I know people don't like it, but it's like, do you think like a petition's gonna change the way these console players do business? Come on, man. Really? I mean, a perfect world, dude. Everybody would just play on PC, and there wouldn't be any first party stuff, Got him. you know. But that's not the world we live in. So, and it'll never be that way. This is the war. This is the game. At least with Xbox, dude. At least with Xbox, they are always like their first party games go console, PC, and subscription service day one all the time. At least Xbox has that, which I mean is because they're Microsoft, right? So it's just a part of the fact that they they manufacture and publish Windows, and it's an easy thing for them to do that. But it's nice nonetheless. We already talked about this stuff a little bit, so I'm not going to dive into that. It's dude, everybody's reporting on the PlayStation getting their 10-year deal with Microsoft for Call of Duty, dude. Jesus. I got the yawns today, man. Got the yawns. Yeah, I'm interested in. We read about this the other day too. So that he's not a kid anymore. He's 18 now. This individual that hacked Rockstar, from London, right? In the UK, hacked Rockstar, leaked all the GTA info and code and stuff like that. Um, Apparently, it has been seen by psychologists and assessed by psychologists, and they've deemed him unfit to stand trial. He was 17 whenever this happened last year and is 18 now and has been deemed unfit to stand trial, but nobody's saying why he's been deemed unfit. This is a weird thing to me. I'm a bit weirded out about how somebody can be smart enough and coherent enough to perform a function like this, hack a company, and this was not the only company they hacked. Apparently were part of hacking Uber and stuff like that. Yeah, it does sound like that, doesn't it, Ferret? That's what I'm wondering too. And now all of a sudden he's unfit mentally. It's like this person knew what they were doing. They hacked this company, stole all this information, and then leaked it out to the world. And now they're unfit to stand trial? Come again? What? I have a really hard time understanding how that works, you know. And I've yet to see anything that shows why they deemed him unfit. It's just like I doubt it will even see it in here. We'll read this one today too and see what it says, but I haven't seen anything yet. It's just he's deemed unfit. Deemed unfit. It's like, what? How, dude? And again, I mean, like I'm not. Maybe that's really the case, but it seems like a weird situation, does it not? It can't. I mean, I can't help but think that. I mean, it feels a little fishy there. PS Plus massive new free game has over 500 hours of gameplay and is fun. All right, let's see what this is. Oh, dude, you guys know what game's coming? Oh my god! On August 8th, WrestleQuest. Fat Pat, what up, dog? What's going on, man? WrestleQuest is hitting on August 8th, dude. I'm so psyched to play that. I really wish Netflix would get a flipping like desktop platform going for their gaming stuff, because they're starting to pump out some decent games on their platform, man. And to make it to where people can only to still have it to where people can only play those games on their like mobile app feels gross. That's going to really hinder them, I think, and that feels bad. Oh, bro, you haven't seen WrestleQuest? Dog. What? Dude, check this out. Dude, I've been following this game for like months, dude. Actually, since like end of last year. Look at this, dude. It's got a free demo right now, too. Dude, it's an RPG where you like make your own wrestler and stuff. It's got a bunch of the old wrestlers in it and stuff, like old wrestling icons, Jake the Snake, Diamond Dallas Page, Sting, Andre the Giant, stuff like that.
Follows their own path to fame,
but it's all about like going through this campaign. You gotta like level your guy up. But look, all the characters are like action figures, dude. They got like bolts in their arms and stuff. This game looks so dope, dude.
Training with the best is never easy, but wear those bruises with pride. You're going to need all the help you can get to unlock your potential and win the support of legendary
Fat Pat, dude. This game looks so good, dude.
On your side, those legends become extremely powerful.
I'll link the Steam page for you, dude. It's gonna be on Netflix as well, though. It's releasing on Netflix as well as like I think Switch and PC. I think most consoles. But it just sucks. Netflix, dude, like just like with Oxenfree 2, Netflix doesn't have like a desktop app or anything yet.
WrestleQuest.
But yeah, August 8th, dude. I'm so psyched for this game. I'm playing it, dude, when it comes up. So, I'm not even like a big wrestling fan, but this game looks really dope. I loved wrestling when I was a little kid, you know? And this game just is so cool. Macho Man. It's got all the old school, like, dope wrestlers in it and stuff. There's another one coming out, dude. Wrestle Story. Have you seen this one? Fat Pat, Wrestle Story as well, dude. This one's coming out also. It's not, it doesn't have a release date yet. Yeah, dude, I loved the Hulk, bro. I used to watch the Hulk and Sergeant Slaughter, dude, all the time. Yeah. This is another one, Fat Pat, you might not know of. So there's WrestleQuest and there's Wrestle Story, man. This one doesn't have a release date yet, though. But both are like kind of RPG kind of games. I'm more hyped about WrestleQuest than this one, but I think they're both going to be cool. They have a desktop app through the Microsoft Store. Do they really? Interesting. But, okay, so here's the thing, though. On that app through their Microsoft Store, do they have their games available on it? That's the big thing that we would have to look at. That's what I'm talking about, right? So that's Russell's story as well, Fat Pat, if you're into the wrestling stuff, dude. I didn't link the other one here. Hold on. I'll get both of these shared for you here, dude. Yeah, that's the big issue because it's the same thing as just like, here, this is WrestleQuest as well, buddy. Here you go, dude. Both of those games right there if you're into the wrestling stuff, man. They both look good to me. So that's the big issue. It's just like pulling up like their website or whatever, right? It's like you just can't access the games even if you have a subscription or whatever. And I think that's the big issue on a lot of the other things like what you're talking about. Even if you pull like a desktop app in or whatever from like Microsoft Store, it might not still have the games on it. So and I haven't played the demo, Fat Pat. No. I'm not I don't usually have time to dive into the demos, dude. I'm always so wrapped up in playing other stuff. I don't have a whole lot of time to grab demos and everything, dude. So, what you're saying? Oh, you have a picture with Hulk? That's sick, dude. Might be trying to stay under the radar until they have something big in place. Well, here's the thing. Waiting for Starfield. Yo, General Happiness peaks at 21. Yo, what a name. Yo, what's up? I am anticipating Starfield. I want to see how Bethesda will do with a new release. I will say that their last showcase, their most recent showcase, welcome in, by the way. It's nice to meet you, buddy. Happy Monday. It's their last showcase got me a bit more hyped about the game, you know. And if the game releases well, I'll probably play it. But Bethesda's one of those companies, like I've enjoyed their games for a long time. But over about the past, 5 to 6 to 8 years, they've done some things that have turned me off a little bit, Yeah, so I don't know. I mean, look, this is what I tell a lot of people nowadays is I think that pre-purchasing and buying day one is quite often anymore from a lot of AAA devs not the greatest move in the world. But we've been duped so many times, you know what I mean? That's just kind of my own stance. It continues to happen all the time too. I mean, we just we're plagued with bad releases, right? So on the AAA front, it's a really tough thing. I think that it's one of those things where you have to take a look at remembering what developers and publishers are doing a decent job, and can you trust them to release something in a good state? That you're pretty sure is going to be worth your money on release, or have they shown you a track record of doing things that it's probably not worth you diving into, like Respawn with the Jedi Survivor stuff, dude. I've been telling everybody right now, they're already working on new Jedi games, dude. I can't recommend enough people not give Respawn and EA your money. I mean, they're just scummy corporations. So I don't know. I don't think Bethesda's the worst in the world. I'm a little bit excited for Starfield, but if you're worried at all on the front of the game not performing fantastic, and look, let's be fair, it's a Bethesda game, right? From Software, dude, I played Elden Ring on release on PC, and it was brutal. It was brutal. I won't play another From Software on release right now myself. So it was a brutal thing to play Elden Ring on PC on release. So To each their own. Everybody's going to have their own experience with game releases and stuff like that. I know that Elden Ring was great on console, but dude, it was a terrible. It wasn't even optimized, or they basically took the console version of Elden Ring and they ported it over to PC. It was very obvious. It had a ton of issues, and it felt terrible to play it. So, exactly, General. Yeah. So, I mean, it's a Bethesda game, right? So you've got to be prepared for just getting Bethesda'd. You know what I mean? I think that everybody has to understand you're going to get Bethesda'd a little bit. And I'm not talking about none of us expect a game to be flawless, right? Any game coming out is going to have, we all expect a little bit of some weirdness, right? But there's a difference between maybe needing a little bit of some patching for some unexpected things that aren't game breaking and are just wonky, and as opposed to a game just being fairly broken, right? So I don't know. I feel like Bethesda will probably do a pretty decent job with the release of this game, but I'm not going to be buying into it day one. You know, I'm a little bit hesitant about Bethesda after some of the other stuff I've seen them do. You know, that's it. It's big. It's a big game. But look, I mean, that's the thing we talk about a lot here too is and Ferret, I'm going to get back to that Netflix thing in just a second. We'll talk about that. Games are getting really big, right? Games are getting really big. This is a big issue, and I don't know if you're primarily like a console player or a PC player or whatever. You know, this isn't as big of an issue on the front of PC games, but or PC gaming as it is for console gaming. We're seeing games get bigger and bigger and bigger. Developers and publishers don't want to put games out on physical copies anymore because the games are getting too big and it's going to require multiple discs, things like that. So consoles have gotten themselves in a bad spot with it, and they're also not releasing their consoles with big enough storage space to give people room to put these massive games on their hard drives and stuff. And consoles have put themselves in a bad position with consumers as far as I'm concerned. But I think that one of the other things that has to be done here is, I mean, obviously, anybody that knows anything about coding at all, and you don't have to be you don't have to be somebody that is a software engineer to understand this. But there's something to be said for being good with your coding and being proficient with your coding to where it takes the least amount of space up as possible, right? And I think that's where, especially nowadays with how big the games are getting, these software engineers have to do the very best they can to pull the size down of these games to the best of their ability because they're getting massive, right? But again, I think the PC side of things, it's easier for us to address these issues. Whereas console gaming, the developers of the consoles have really put consumers in a bad spot, man. Yeah. Thanks for the follow, buddy. I appreciate it. So I don't know, man. I mean, I think it's a personal thing. There are definitely companies that I advise people to not buy into. The Bethesda thing, I think it's going to be a personal thing. Whether you're so hyped you just can't help it, or whether you're more like me and it's like, it looks like it could be good, but you're willing to wait a few days after release and just see what it feels like. You know what I mean? I think the big thing we have to do is try not to feed into these big juggernaut companies that do us wrong anymore. It creates a bad snowball effect. It has for a long time. So Ferret, the Netflix thing, man, is like you're saying they might be trying to stay under the radar until they have something big in place. And I don't know. I mean, I think that, the last year was like the first full year that they were diving into the gaming stuff. And I really liked the play that they did with pulling in some really nice titles for their app and everything, right? It was like they're dipping their toes into the water of gaming and trying to get people more interested in what they were going to be doing for their platform for gaming and everything. But they're heavily invested at this point. They've bought multiple developers. They're working on AAA games. They've got games now that are releasing day one on their platform, right? We're talking about like, and we're not talking about just mobile games either. We're talking about like multi-platform games. And you're quite possibly right, but I still don't feel like it's the right play because of this fact. You're talking about multi-platform games like WrestleQuest coming out, Oxenfree 2, Into the Breach, which was a great play by them putting onto the Netflix app, you know what I mean, or their gaming portfolio and everything. So yeah, they have some games, or they've got a slew of games actually that are strictly mobile, right? But then they've got all these other games that are actually they play very well as like not just mobile titles. They actually probably play better as like a traditional like either PC or console game rather than a mobile game. And they've I think reached they're beyond that point of having enough of those kind of titles where I feel like it would make a lot of sense for them and it would be a much more appealing thing for them to have some kind of way for people to access that stuff on PC and console as a subscriber, right? If they would just set it up. So it's another way to pull people in. You know what I'm saying? They've lost a lot of subscriber base, which is one of the reasons that they're like pivoting into gaming. Yeah. But if they're trying to get new subscribers in and they've got all these games that play very well outside of just mobile devices, then to appeal to getting new subscribers in that might not want to play their games as mobile games, you need to have that other platform, right? You need to have that like desktop app to play the games on, or you need to have the console version of the app to play the games on and stuff, right? And that's where I feel like they're kind of falling short right now because they've got a lot of games coming out, day one releases and stuff that I feel like are going to play very, very well as either a console or a PC game or whatever, not just a mobile game. Probably better on a console or a PC than a mobile game, and they're not giving people that utility, right? That's the way I'm seeing it. We'll keep going here. We'll keep going. Wick, what are you doing, dude? You don't even know what I'm talking about. You don't even know what you're talking about. Wait, what? Game Pass Ultimate due for yet another ridiculous price rise. You don't know. Let's take a look at. I mean, it already went up. Did it only go up in the U.S. or something? You don't know, dude. Where did this even come from, anyways? I mean, you're just trying to impart some wisdom on us. Nobody said that they. So they had dude they had been leaking subscribers like a sieve over the past. So I'm not just talking about recently. I'm talking about one of the big reasons overall in which they pivoted into gaming is because they lost a ton of subscribers over time. All right. Their subscriber base dwindled significantly. I'm not talking about just recently. Which was one of their big reasons for pivoting into gaming. See, this is Wick's thing. Wick only listens to like part of the stuff. You know what I mean? He's like, oh, sorry, I was making smoothies. And then he hops halfway into the conversation. He's like, forget about it. I'm Diamond in Farlight. Don't worry about it. Forget about it. I'll be back. I gotta go make some more smoothies. I'll hop into the next conversation when it's halfway through. What is this? Starfield fans furious unreleased game might not win Game of the Year? Yo, but speaking of Netflix, did anybody watch the new Witcher season yet? Have you guys watched the first half of the new Witcher season yet? That's the only thing that's out so far. I think the next half comes out in like 10 days or so, something like that. Anybody watch it? Looks like I'm out of here, dude. Tired of this. Only been able to watch the first episode. This dude, Jesus. I'm not real impressed, dude. I've gotta say, dude. Like, I'm not real impressed. I hope that doesn't affect anybody's like ability to watch and enjoy the show or whatever. But I mean, honestly, it doesn't feel like it feels like the Yennefer show, dude. That's what it feels like. That's what they should have called it. They should have just changed the name to the Yennefer show. I don't know. Not that there's anything wrong with Yennefer, you know what I mean? But so, and that's probably like one of the reasons. So, Wick, actually going back to what you said, and I didn't know those numbers. If those are true numbers, and they actually were up 1.75 million subscribers from June, I'm guessing over May, maybe. That's probably why. I'll be honest. I mean, even the quality of this season just doesn't feel great, and I don't know. It's weird. It just doesn't feel like the seasons we got before to me for some reason. I don't know what it is. I can't really put my finger on it. I need to go back and probably watch it again and see what's going on there for me. But I was just like sitting there watching it, not like psyched or anything, and not really like super entertained. And it was just like, okay, that's over. I don't know. I don't know. You guys have to let me know what you think. Maybe I just wasn't in the mood for it or something when I watched it the first time. I need to watch it again and see. Um, Yeah, I mean, I mean, Wick, are you talking about in June they were up 1.75 million subscribers over when? And look, I'll say this: it's probably one of the reasons they were up in subscribers right then was because The Witcher was coming out, dude. That's the way subscription services work, right? Big titles come out. Same thing with Xbox, right? And Game Pass. So, Starfield's coming, right? That's why they raised prices right now too. It's a business tactic. They raised prices, even though, dude, they had no reason to raise prices. They haven't released anything good really, their content's been pretty bleak as far as like first party games and everything. They've had a few, maybe mainly Hi-Fi Rush, and but they did it because they know their subscriber base is going to jump up significantly um, whenever Starfield releases. Um, well, I mean, to say that that's the only reason it increased, dude, I don't believe that. The Witcher is a huge thing for them, and to say that like the password stuff, yeah, I know about the whole password rule stuff. Yeah, yeah, I know about it. Yeah, uh huh. Yeah, I know, but I don't think that that's like the only reason their subscription base went up. This is the way subscription services work: big titles, big releases, and they said that's the only reason. They can't. There's no way they know that that's the only reason. So they surveyed everybody that did a new subscription and said, "Why did you do this new subscription?" And every single one of those people said, "Oh, because of your account stuff that you just implemented." No, come on, man. That doesn't make sense, dude. You believe everything you read on the internet, don't you, Wick? Okay, but did they also take into account that how many of those accounts only bought? Okay, okay, it might also just be a coincidence that some of those accounts bought 1 month of subscription right then that were also in the scenario of just wanting to watch a month of Netflix because The Witcher came out. That's what I'm saying. It's not a true survey, dude. So they're basing it on an assumption, not factual data, dude. I'm not saying that a lot of it's not because of the password stuff, but they're also going off of assumptions and not legitimate, like, factual information they've gathered. Like, they're assuming a lot of that also. Okay, Wick. That's exactly what I've been trying to say, Ferret. But Wick's apparently on Netflix's payroll now and is serving them smoothies out of their organization. And you know what I mean? He's trying to, I don't know. make sure that we all believe what Netflix wants us to believe and stuff. So we'll just roll with it. um, what is this for? We'll see what this is. See what this is. That's probably a good article right there. Blasphemous right in the middle of that. Blasphemous 2 is coming out in a couple months too, man. Really want to play that. Jesus. All right, dude. You're the smartest. We got it. You got the facts, dude. We get it. Flipping. Wow, dude. So you're also going to act like a 30% drop in viewership from what? Still you're going to act like that still doesn't have any effect on a huge series like that. People buying in, there's still going to be a huge population of people that buy into the subscription service for a month or two just to watch that series that are still interested in it. It's still a huge population of people. You're completely discounting the fact that it has anything to do with the increase at all. It's a huge, huge series for them. Even if the viewership is down from what it once was, it doesn't discount the fact that it could still contribute to that overall number. And we're not saying that the password, the account stuff isn't the majority or didn't play a huge part in it or whatever. I don't know why you're losing your lid over this, Doug. I don't know who crapped in your cereal this morning. It seems like it. No, you're right. You're right. That's what I've been saying. No, you're the one that's right. Viewfinder. This game looks dope. Let's see what this is about. Yeah, you kind of did, dude. Yeah, you kind of did. Whatever, bro. It's fine. It's whatever. I'm not gonna. I mean, it's. This is something stupid to even be like. What is this one about? Wait, what? Interesting. Okay, we'll see if we have that up. Latest free game's outrageously fun. I think we might have this up already. Oh, nah, dude. We're talking about. We already talked about this yesterday. All right, let's dive into these articles. Let's dive into these. Viewfinder review. This game looks pretty wild. Viewfinder's core gameplay mechanic is brilliant, but it fails to live up to its full potential due to a weak narrative and short length. That feels bad. Okay, if you want to bring that up, dude, in front of everybody, then we can talk about that. Okay? If that's what you want to go ahead and bring up in front of everybody, whenever I tried to address it off stream, right? Then we can do that. Yeah? That's fine. So instead of like actually showing a little bit of like hesitation and being like, because I set stuff, I even sent you a DM. I sent you a DM and I explained and even apologized before we had even talked and said, look, I'm sorry, I probably didn't approach that the best way possible. It caught me off guard. I mean, I can bring the message up if you want, you know? And I didn't react very well, probably, but it caught me off guard. I didn't expect that from one of my mods to just blatantly blurt out the password of something. And for you to act like it wasn't a big deal doesn't sit right with me. And instead of like apologizing and being like, oh, dude, I'm sorry, I just wasn't thinking, da-da-da, you just played it off like it wasn't a big deal. When this isn't your content, it's not your stream, it's not your channel, and I run things here the way I run things for a specific reason. And I explained that to you. I sent you that DM, and you didn't say anything back at all. Right? So I apologized immediately. That same night, I DM'd you and told you I was sorry. I felt bad, right? And this is the first time you've even brought it up. No reply to me at all. And then this right now, no reply to the DM or anything like that. But you just wanted, whenever it happened, and you made the mistake, you wanted to act like it wasn't a big deal. Like you didn't do anything, really. I shouldn't be making a big deal out of it. When I secure things for a reason, I do things a specific way in my channel. And it doesn't matter whether you think it's the way it should be done or not, because it's not yours. Well, you couldn't even reply to my DM so that we could like talk it out and rectify the situation. You just stayed away and then showed back up like 2 weeks later and apparently just harbored a bunch of ill will about it instead of letting us address it as adults and accepting my apology and you apologizing too, maybe even, right? Like an adult. Talk about feels bad, man. Okay? I would be the first person to apologize to somebody if I do something wrong. And I might not even always realize it. But if somebody lets me know that maybe they feel like I've done something to affect our relationship, make them feel bad, I would be the first person to apologize. But on the flip side of that, I expect the same kind of respect, right? And I'm going to handle my channel the way that I'm going to handle my channel. I put protective measures in place for a certain reason. And when you did what you did and acted like it wasn't a big deal, instead of just being like, my bad, or whatever, and just start trying to like kind of poke fun at it or whatever, that doesn't sit well with me, dude. Yeah. And no response, and then leaves, so get wrecked. Sorry, guys. How about some news? Viewfinder review. Viewfinder's core gameplay mechanic is brilliant, but it fails to live up to its full potential due to a weak narrative and short length. The Game Awards 2022 was home to all kinds of massive game reveals and big blockbuster. Yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah, you did. Yeah. Um, I think it's something that's kind of been coming to a head for a while. TLDR. There was something that happened a while back that in a gameplay multiplayer situation, something went down. Wick was a part of it. Did something I wasn't fond of. I reacted poorly. And we were both in the wrong in what he did and the way I reacted. It was both. They were both. It was both poor. But I after the stream that day, I DM'd Wick and basically apologized immediately and was like, you know, explaining the situation from my point of view, apologizing for the way I reacted, but letting him know why I reacted that way and why I felt it was unfortunate that he did what he did and that he reacted the way he did instead of the way I expected him to react whenever, especially he's a moderator. He was a moderator in this community. And so I got nothing back. So that was a Discord DM after the gameplay that day. I got nothing back. And then all of a sudden he shows up like 2 weeks later, like nothing ever happened. And so I just went with it. So I apologized. I explained myself, waited to hear back, never heard anything. And he was just gone for like roughly 2 weeks away from the stream. He came back and acted like nothing happened. I never heard anything else about it, right? But he just wanted to bring it back up in chat right now, live stream in front of everybody. And so I was like, all right, fine, let's hash it out. You know what I mean? And so I just gave it to him, dude. I don't know. I mean, I don't know what else he wanted. And instead of, instead of us being able to hash it out like adults, him recognizing that maybe he did something wrong and apologized to me the same way that I apologized to him or anything, he just left out of the channel and chat. You know what I mean? After him bringing it up today and me saying, I DM'd you, I apologized, I explained my situation, and then you just did nothing. Acted like you did nothing wrong, you know, and then he just left. He just left chat. So I'm done with it, dude. I don't know. And look, I mean, here's what I'll say. I am not perfect. I'm far from it, dude. I make mistakes. I'm human. And I understand that everybody is human and we all make mistakes. But I do expect, you know what I mean? Like for the people that are part of this channel and part of this community and everything, if you have an issue with me, if you feel like I've done something wrong to you and I might not have noticed it, talk to me about it. Hit me up. And I will do everything I can to reconcile with you because I don't want to make anybody feel bad. I don't. That's not something I would ever do on purpose, right? But I expect that same thing from other people too, you know? And that was a situation where I didn't get that same kind of respect from somebody that I expect. We were both in the wrong. And I was the one that went and apologized and explained my side of the situation and got nothing in return. And I let it slide. I wasn't ever going to bring it back up. I was just going to let it be what it was. And until right now, whenever it got brought back up. And if that's the way that's going to go, then yeah, I'm gonna give a piece of my mind whenever that kind of thing happens. I have no problem telling people I was wrong and I'm sorry. I'll apologize, dude, very quickly. I don't want to hurt people's feelings. I don't want to, you know, I don't want to be that person. You know, I try to always be a bigger person. I try to learn from my mistakes and make people feel welcome and accepted and a part of what we do here. But I expect the same kind of thing from other people as well. And if I don't get that, then yeah, we're probably going to have some issues, you know? And I think that's what this was just a culmination of. It was not getting that same kind of respect in return. Even though I tried to keep all this offline, I tried to address it offline as much as I could. And Wick apparently wasn't having it. And so I got a little bit heated right there because I didn't get the same kind of respect. Yeah. Um, I expect people to be adults around here. We laugh, we have fun, and I enjoy that, dude. It's a great time. We have a lot of cool people that are part of what we do, and I love it so much, dude. But if something like this happens, I do expect some semblance of being a mature person so that we can work through these issues. And apparently that's just not in Wick's capacity to adult. Yeah. And apparently he didn't want to try and work through what happened or admit that he played a part in doing something wrong as well. And therefore I don't think we'll probably see Wick anymore. All right. So as far as I'm concerned, people that don't have that kind of respect for me wouldn't have that kind of respect for anybody else in this community either, and therefore they don't belong. And that's all I care about. I want this community to be full of people that respect one another, treat each other the right way. It doesn't mean there might not be some conflict from time to time. But as long as we can get through that conflict in a mature way, and again, dude, if anybody thinks this is the first time I've ever had to have an offline conversation with somebody that's a prominent part of this community, and it's been sorted out, and it's a thing of the past that I no longer think about anymore, you're absolutely wrong. There are many people that are part of this community that I've had offline conversations with about particular things, and it was addressed in a mature adult civil situation. It was addressed, squashed, and gone, and taken care of. And apparently this was one of those situations where that could not be done. And I feel like I did everything I could, and it'll just be a Wickless community from now on, I guess. So, again, like, disclaimer, PSA for anybody out there that is seeing this now or later, if you're currently a part of our community, or if you're ever thinking about wanting to come hang out and be a part of what we do, I will always do my best to make people feel welcome and accepted and comfortable and safe here. But I won't stand by and let people ruin what we are building. And I will always be the first to apologize if anything happens that makes people feel opposite of that. And I will do everything I can to rectify those kinds of situations. And this is one of those situations where I think it was finally just time to realize that maybe that particular individual didn't have a place here anymore. Sometimes it's unfortunate. He had been here for a long time, been a big part of what we did for a long time. And I've had other people that have been a part of what we, this community for significant amounts of time and stuff, but that have left or whatever. And it's not always easy and it's not always fun, but it's just sometimes part of life. Yeah. And part of streaming. And I think that the main thing is protecting the health of this community and making sure that things progress in a healthy way around here as a community, rather than having some kind of potential conflict always sitting there on the sidelines or something. You know what I mean? I don't know. I feel like I did everything I could. I don't know, man. So I don't know what else to say, man. Viewfinder's core gameplay mechanic. Viewfinder review. This game looks really wild, and fair. It's not your fault, man. It's not your fault. I appreciate it. I appreciate everybody that's part of this community. This community's always been about quality over quantity. Me too, man. Me too. Absolutely. Me too. Again. And that initial situation between us when it happened, uh, I apologized. I was in the wrong in my reaction and into what my reaction to what he did, which was something that was wrong as well. And so I'm human. I made a mistake. I tried to apologize. He was wrong too, and acted like I was the only one that did anything. And I can't help that, dude. I can't help that. I tried everything I could, and I was willing to just let it slide, but apparently he wasn't. And I don't know what else to say about it, really. Viewfinder's review. Viewfinder's core gameplay mechanic is brilliant, but it fails to live up to its full potential due to a weak narrative and short length. The Game Awards 2022 was home to all kinds of massive game reveals and big blockbuster announcements. One of the most exciting games featured at the show was creative indie game Viewfinder, a first-person puzzle game that has drawn comparisons to titles like Superliminal and The Witness. Viewfinder lets players bring pictures to life by placing them into the game world. It's difficult to properly explain Viewfinder's mind-bending gimmick on paper and do it justice, but rest assured that it will leave most players amazed at the possibilities. One second. Viewfinder's gimmick of bringing pictures to life is one of the most innovative ideas first-person puzzle games have seen since Portal's Portal Gun. There's a definite wow moment the first time players lay down a picture and step into it. New twists on the concept are gradually introduced as players progress, though nothing beats the first time experience the picture-to-reality mechanic. Initially, players have to make do with pre-existing photographs they find lying around the stages to solve puzzles. Sometimes players may have to do more with these photographs before placing them in the game world, like tilting them to make sloped objects or creating copies using a photocopier. To provide an example as to why this would be useful, multiple puzzles in the game challenge players to charge teleporters using batteries, and the challenge is to collect the required number of batteries and place them near the teleportation device. If players are given one photograph of a battery to work with, they could create copies of that photograph, place those photos in the game world, and step into all of them one by one to get all the batteries they need. What's up, Kayla? About midway point through the game, Viewfinder players get a camera that lets them take their own photographs to use. With it, players are given a lot more freedom when it comes to solving puzzles and overcoming obstacles. For example, there may be a gap that's too wide for players to jump across, but with the camera, players can take a picture of another object or maybe even the ground beneath their feet, then bring that photo to life to build a bridge. A nice touch with the pictures and Viewfinder is that they sometimes utilize different art styles. The game world uses bright, vibrant colors and a futuristic aesthetic, but players can disrupt that with black and white photographs, pencil drawings, watercolor paintings, and some especially unique looks that shouldn't be spoiled here. Placed objects can also tear into the terrain, allowing players to literally reshape the world around them with different colors and objects as they tackle Viewfinder's challenges. It's not uncommon for puzzle games to become overwhelming and frustrating, but Viewfinder doesn't have that problem. There are a handful of puzzles near the end of the game that may leave players scratching their heads, especially since the hint system is not particularly helpful. The most part, players will always have a clear idea of what they need to do. for the most part. Some may find Viewfinder doesn't truly push its puzzle design to its limits, while others will appreciate the cozier approach. Besides the main puzzles, there are also optional levels in each world that players can check out for an added challenge. They don't up the difficulty at all significantly, but they tend to require players to think a bit more outside the box than the puzzles that are mandatory to get through Viewfinder's story. Players will want to play through the entirety of Viewfinder's story to see all the clever ways that the game's picture-to-reality gimmick is utilized. The plot itself isn't compelling. Viewfinder's narrative is its biggest weak point, as it lacks a strong hook to keep players invested. Players are plopped into Viewfinder's game world with little explanation, and while it may seem at first that there's some kind of big mystery to unravel, there really isn't. Viewfinder's story falls completely flat and is basically devoid of any interesting characters save for a talking cat that tags along in most of the levels. Players can listen to audio logs to learn more about the human characters who helped create the world they're exploring. Their stories and relationships are bland. Viewfinder's storytelling is in desperate need of something more exciting to spice things up. The lackluster plot is what ultimately keeps Viewfinder from reaching the heights it should have, and what will stop it from being looked back at as fondly as other major first-person puzzle games that have been released over the years. Some may also be disappointed by Viewfinder's relatively short length. The game has 5 hub worlds with their own set of mandatory levels and optional challenges. All the content can be breezed through in about 5 hours. Many puzzle games like this are on the shorter side. Feels like Viewfinder rolls credits when there is still a ton of untapped potential for this picture-to-reality gimmick. It would be great to see this idea revisited in a sequel or a different kind of game entirely. As while Viewfinder does a great job of showcasing why this is such a great idea for a video game, it doesn't go quite far enough to solidify itself as the all-time great puzzle game that perhaps it could have been if it were meatier and had a more engaging story to chew on. Viewfinder is fun while it lasts and has more than one moment that will leave players with a smile on their faces. It doesn't live up to its full potential, but it's still a solid game and one that will hopefully inspire others to explore similar concepts. It's easy to see how Viewfinder's picture-to-reality idea could be huge for something like a horror game or even a first-person shooter. Applying the brilliant idea at its core to something with a better story and more content would be the makings of an instant classic. What's here is still certainly worth the picture of admission, however. Launches for PC and PS5 on tomorrow. So they got an early look. The game is really, really cool looking, man. If you guys haven't seen Viewfinder, take a look at this. Kayla, what's up? But it sucks to know that it's maybe a bit short on content.
It's been a while since someone's wandered around this place. And wanderers are always welcome. I've been meaning to ask. What brought you here? The founders left plenty of records of their work here, in case they were to ever come back. I must admit, I'm surprised you made it this far. It's quite exciting.
One second, guys. Sorry. So that's basically what it is. The game looks pretty cool. We've seen it for a while now, and it looks really interesting. It sucks to see that it might be a bit bleak for content, but if you need more, I'll link this for you. There you go. Da, da, da. Let me finish something real quick, guys. Sorry. Sorry. Cool. Apologies. So stunning 9 out of 10 Steam adventure game, free to download and keep now. Add this stunning Steam visual novel game to your library for free with a new offer from Amazon Prime Gaming. If you're looking for the new Steam games to add to your growing library, look no further, as there are plenty of freebies to pick and choose from this month, all of which can be downloaded right now. Check out the trailer for Nary, Tower of Shirin.
Rated everyone.
Dude. Interesting. Narrative puzzle adventure game heavily praised by critics and fans alike. Game's description reads, follow Nary as she uncovers a mysterious conspiracy in this gripping yet family-friendly adventure that is suitable for all ages. Graphic adventure crafts a rich, Ghibli-inspired oasis city where animals and humans live side by side. Admittedly, anything inspired by Studio Ghibli gets an instant seal of approval from me, and it doesn't seem like I'm alone. The game scored highly in reviews with multiple 9 out of 10s. If you love adventure games, love puzzles, and all that is kawaii, you'll love Nary. We recommend that you purchase this title. You can buy it on Steam or take advantage of the new offer from Amazon Prime Gaming, which includes Nary, Tower of Shirin, as part of this subscription package as a free download. So you can get it for free on Prime Gaming right now, guys, okay? There are a lot of other free games on Prime Gaming also. Baldur's Gate 2. Yeah, no worries, Ferret. No worries, buddy. Yeah. Sorry for the interruption there for the news segment and stuff, bro. Apologies. I appreciate you, man. Sorry that we're back to work, you know. Starfield fans already furious. Unreleased game might not win Game of the Year. Dude. Bro. Is this for reals? Starfield fans are already furious. Unreleased game might not win Game of the Year. Jeez, dude. Perfectly normal to speculate what game might win the coveted game title of Game of the Year at the Game Awards as the year goes on. Happens literally every year. Discussion is always sparked whenever a particularly good game comes out. What makes a little less sense is when gamers are adamant about how unreleased games will fare during awards season. Sure, we can all guess that certain titles are likely to be great, but how many times have we been burned in the past by things being completely and utterly disappointing? Just look at Cyberpunk. Thank you. Although CDPR's futuristic open world RPG has now made quite the comeback, the bugs and glitches were unbearable. The whole situation felt particularly awful since everyone was so excited for it. Yeah, I mean, this is the tried and true example of hyping up and marketing and promoting a game and releasing it when it wasn't ready. And basically just baiting people into buying a broken product. It is one of the best modern examples of a terrible, terrible release. Yeah. So I'm sure you now see where this is going. Over on Reddit, some Starfield fans are already wondering if the game has a chance of winning Game of the Year. Alleged there's so much Zelda bias in the media. Yeah. Look, I'll say this. I've said this before. I think that people have to maintain an open mind. It's hard for a lot of people, I think, because you get a lot. Everybody has their preferences, and that's fine. And I think, but there are also there are people that have these huge fan biases as well, whether it be for certain products or developers or games or what have you, and it's hard for them to see past that and give other software a chance, maybe, right? So whether you're talking about there are certain people that go, PlayStation's the best, so they'll only look at like first party PlayStation games as games that could potentially win Game of the Year, and that could go for any platform. It could go for the same thing for like Xbox or Nintendo, and then you get certain people that are just fans of certain IPs or certain developers, software developers that have the same kind of sentiment, and it's that game comes out that's highly anticipated, and they kind of get blinders on to where they don't actually give other games a shot, a legitimate chance. They don't look at these other titles that come out through the rest of the year as something that should have a chance because they're already too sold on what they've already seen. And that's not really fair. So to be fair, it's absolutely okay. It's just like Hi-Fi Rush came out at the beginning of the year. That's been my game of the year so far. But and you stick with that, right? You play a great game and you stick with that notion while you play other games. But you have to keep an open mind in the fact that there's still games coming out. And those games deserve just as much consideration for Game of the Year or awards for that matter in any capacity as that game you've already played. It doesn't matter. You got to try to put your biases aside, right? And it's hard for a lot of people. That's hard, and again, the reason there are different games that go up for Game of the Year award every year is because we all have our own individual preferences and the things that we enjoy out of entertainment and video games and stuff like that. And then that's appropriate, man. That makes sense. But you've got to be open to the fact of giving other software and other games just as much of a chance as the games you've already played in the year. We're halfway through the year. We're over halfway through the year right now. There's still a lot of games coming out. There have been a lot of good games already. Tears of the Kingdom. There's been Hi-Fi Rush. Dude, we're playing a banger right now in Dave the Diver. How good would it be for Dave the Diver from an indie dev to win Game of the Year? I don't see that happening. To see an indie dev win Game of the Year would be phenomenal, but I just don't see that happening, unfortunately. But this is a fantastic game. There have been a lot of good games. There have been a lot of failures too, but there have been a lot of good games. So keeping that open mind, I think, is very important for people. Understanding that as you move forward, there's still a lot of games coming out, and giving them just as much of a chance and just as much consideration for the games you've already played is what you should be doing as a true lover of video games. I don't think anything stands a chance against Tears of the Kingdom. Probably not. Which is sad because I don't think Tears of the Kingdom was even all that good. This is a quote. However, it does have mass appeal and, as you said, Zelda bias. Yeah, one user wrote. I'd say it will be Starfield. People still talk about Breath of the Wild, whereas Tears of the Kingdom seems like it's already been and gone, another added. I think the big difference there is that you talk about Breath of the Wild, and it was so groundbreaking for Zelda, And what Tears of the Kingdom is doing a great job of building upon the core of what Breath of the Wild was, right? Now, I've played very little of Tears of the Kingdom right now, but I already know that's what that is. Breath of the Wild was just such a huge step in the evolutionary process for Zelda games, and it was incredible, especially for getting that done on the Switch. And I think that's one of the reasons that Breath of the Wild will probably always be known as the more renowned of these two games, while Tears of the Kingdom is great, and they did a phenomenal job of building upon that core of Breath of the Wild. They got the world even. I think the world is neater because you've got the above and the below. You've got the building system in the game, which is amazing. But it doesn't change the fact that without Breath of the Wild, you probably wouldn't have Tears of the Kingdom. That's just kind of a fact. And not everybody will feel that way. That's just kind of the way I see it. Others, however, have pointed out that these discussions should probably wait until Starfield is actually out and in our hands. Starfield hasn't even been released. We don't know anything about how this game will present itself, one user said. Personally, I think it will be great, but this is a great example of a time in which we should temper our expectations regarding something we haven't actually seen. I think we should talk about Starfield being a Game of the Year contender after we get our hands on it. Just my 2 cents. Time will tell. Okay, look. You can't you have to absolutely give every game a chance, but you can't lead into it like this either and go, we need to talk about Starfield being Game of the Year contender once we get our hands on it. Because you have no idea if it's going to be that good or not. This is not a sentiment that works well, okay? You can't do that. Once people get their hands on it, if it's good enough, talk will happen, right? But that's what is required. You can't lead into it like this and try to preemptively build hype around a game that you have no idea if it's going to be good enough for consideration as a Game of the Year contender, nominee, Game of the Year nominee. You can't do that. You have no idea. Absolutely no idea. And when it releases, we'll find out. But to try to get people to buy into this notion that it's going to be that good, you can't do that. Nobody knows, dude. Nobody knows that. Starfield is going to launch on 6 September, so we'll find out soon enough. All right? Steam's latest free game has some seriously divisive reviews. Let's see what this is. A recent free game on Steam has seriously divisive reviews, despite at the time of writing being rated as mostly positive. And the game in question is Cygnus Racing League from developers Cygnus Studios LLC. Cygnus Racing League is an indie action racing game that is currently in its early access phase. Judging from the gameplay trailer alone, it kind of looks like a cross between Twisted Metal and F-Zero, with its visuals inspired by the original PlayStation era. Why is the game being considered as divisive? Seems that not all user reviews are positively contributing to the mostly positive accolade. Quote, Cygnus Racing League is another attempt at a vehicle-based battle royale game. The best one was probably Not My Car Battle Royale, even though the less traditional Eliminator mode from the Forza Horizon games could be mentioned as well. Exclaimed Steam user JoJoMan32. They continued, Cygnus Racing League has a very cool concept of racing in spaceships and battling each other in a big battle royale race. In reality, however, Cygnus fails in execution. Movement and aiming feel awful, and the game looks pretty hideous. Not every cool concept turns into a cool game. When looking at videos, I thought the gameplay might be fun, but in reality, it was not. Let's see this real quick.
An innovative mobile experience, this racing battle royale game puts your skills to the test. Conquer your enemies with powerful, customizable weapons. Forge your path to success with an array of skins across 20 unique ships. Dominate your opponents across the galaxy in 4 epic regions. From recognizable lands to the unimaginable, explore the diverse planetary systems with 41 distinct worlds. But only one can be champion of the galaxy. Think you have what it takes?
It's very poly, dude.
Cygnus Racing League.
So it's early access right now. Oh, dude. What a review. No date as to when Cygnus Racing League will leave Steam Early Access, but it's free to play right now, apparently. So if it looks interesting, try it out. You know, mix between F-Zero and potentially some Twisted Metal stuff. What is happening here, dude? This, yeah, yo, real cool, man. What? PlayStation Plus, a massive new free game, has over 500 hours gameplay and is fun as heck. What is this? Recently, Sony revealed its games coming to PS Plus Extra and Premium tiers for July of 2023. It includes some absolute bangers. In total, subscribers will be treated to 18 games offering a variety of different genres. World War Z Aftermath reveal trailer.
Brothers and sisters, you're hearing my voice because we have reached a crossroads in this war. We know now that no miracle is coming. That simply surviving is a slow death. That we will not win by holding our ground.
Our ranks have grown. Our skills have sharpened. And our weapons are loaded. We have initiated a new strategy in Kamchatka.
Our forces are prepared to take back Rome.
We will not hide. There will be no retreat. Today we claw back from the brink. Today, we make a stand.
Zombie carnage. Some of the picks of the bunch from a PS Plus July 2023 include It Takes Two. I'm playing that right now with my wife, dude. It's a banger. The game's good. Sniper Elite 5, The Ascent, Undertale, even classic Twisted Metal, and much more. Dude, when is the Twisted Metal show supposed to pop off on, I think, what is it? Is it Paramount or is it Peacock? I can't remember. But the show looks pretty funny, actually. And I really, 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 really hope that if the show, I hope the show does well. I hope the show does well because I think it will be a catalyst for them actually getting a new Twisted Metal game made. Dude, I loved Twisted Metal back in the day. What's more, the game offering hundreds of gameplay fun is the co-op Zombie Slayer World War Z. Developed by Saber Interactive, World War Z video game is inspired by the movie and novel of the same name. The premise of the World War Z is simple. Team up with 3 other friends, slay hundreds of zombies in intense waves across New York, Jerusalem, Moscow, Tokyo, Marseille, Rome, and Kamchatka. Having put a decent number of hours into the game myself, I can confirm that it's a lot of fun, even when playing with randos. Cool. There you go, man. Some new titles coming to PS Plus along with World War Z there, yeah. There's a link if you need it. Xbox Game Pass Ultimate due for yet another ridiculous price rise. One of the most significant advantages of Xbox is their live service. The Xbox Game Pass, which provides gamers with a lot of benefits over the months as long as they pay a subscription fee. For a while, the subscription fee has been £13 per month for Game Pass Ultimate. Provides players with many benefits. Still, due to some changes, price will be raised in August to £17, which has caused a fair bit of concern amongst gamers. This is the price rise that we already saw happen over here, right? So this price rise already happened for us. Did they not roll this out everywhere at the same time? That's wild. I didn't know that. Let me see if when was that article published? What the crap, dude? Yeah, 17 July. But it was like July 6th is where we saw the increase already happen for a lot of us. Or at least in the US, I know for a fact. What does this say? Hmm. Kind of weird. Yeah, it was like I don't know, about 10 days ago that like it all increased. So I don't know, are they just like late to the party getting that article out, or I don't know what's going on there. But yeah, I mean, we knew it was increasing and increased. I thought it was rolled out everywhere at the same time, though. I didn't think it was like different dates for each region. If anybody out there is part of the community in different like over in Europe or other parts of the world and stuff, and you know when that increase hit, let me know. I'm interested now. It's throwing me off a bit. Steam users can grab 4 free games right now with no subscription. What do we got here? Project Cat, Paper Lily Prologue. So, do they promote this kind of stuff all the time? It's like, get a free game, but really, half of what they'll show you is like, you get these prologues. So, you're just getting like, basically like a taste of the game. It's a bit more than a demo would be, but it's still not the full game or anything. So, this is one, Project Cat, Paper Lily Prologue. Code of War gun shooting games. Fugium and Star OS. The Sand Table War Cruciata. So there's a few free games. Usually these games that they promote free on Steam are like obscure a little bit. They'll either be like middle of the road reviewed, sometimes like kind of negatively reviewed, or just won't have reviews. But they're free, so take a look at them. If they look interesting, then I mean, it's free software, it's free games, man. Grab them and try them out. If something ends up being fun, let me know. Grand Theft Auto 6 hacker found unfit to stand trial. Look, we read about this already. We read about this yesterday. But I'm interested as to how an individual goes through the process of hacking numerous companies, Rockstar being one of them as well, is of the mindset, cognizant enough to go, oh, look, this is cool. Look what I did. Now I'm going to release all this information to the world because obviously they know that this is not something they're supposed to be doing, right? And then they get found by psychologists to be unfit to stand trial. Again, remember, this individual was a 17-year-old in London whenever this happened. Got busted. Was the main person behind the GTA 6 Rockstar hack. Had been involved in hacks for against Uber and some other big companies. And all of a sudden, see, my big thing is like, why? What was it that made this individual be determined to be unfit to stand trial? That's what I'm interested in here. But I haven't been able to find that out. The teenager accused of hacking Rockstar Games and leaking GTA 6 footage has been deemed unfit to stand trial after being charged with 12 offenses in relation to a string of hacks. In September of 2022, over 90 videos and screenshots from GTA 6 surfaced online. Rockstar Games confirmed the early development footage had been illegally accessed and downloaded, and within weeks, a teenager in Oxfordshire was arrested in relation to the hack. Now, 18-year-old Arian Kutaj faces 12 offenses, including 6 charges under the Computer Misuse Act, 3 blackmail charges, and 2 counts of fraud. While psychiatrists have found Kutaj is unfit to stand trial, Kutaj is alleged member of a hacking group Lapsus and stands accused of hacking Revolut, Uber, Rockstar, and BT. It's alleged that Kurtaj also attacked BT and EE and used Rockstar's own Slack channel to threaten to release Grand Theft Auto 6's source code. While Kurtaj is suspected of acting alone for the Rockstar, Uber, and Revolut hacks, a 17-year-old who cannot be named is thought to have been involved in the blackmailing of BT and EE. Prosecutors claim that both were key players in Lapsus and attempted to blackmail BT and EE for $4 million US, or 3 million pounds. Meanwhile, Uber claimed their own hack caused 3 million or 2.2 million pounds in damages. I don't understand. This is like the thing I want to know is like, how is this individual being deemed unfit for trial? Like, what is going on here? This is weird. This is a weird situation. It seems. It seems fishy almost. I don't know, man. It's kind of odd. Phil Spencer reveals binding agreement to keep Call of Duty on PlayStation. Here we go, man. So this is the big news for today, right? Out the gate this morning, it's kind of like some comedy relief for us, if you will. After all the debacle with Sony trying to make this entire acquisition look as anti-competitive as possible, the first 10-year deal that Microsoft and Xbox tried to make was with Sony, and Sony shot it down. And they shot it down to try to make this entire deal look anti-competitive, right? And when really the whole time, Sony is the one, and Sony and PlayStation, they're the ones that that really came off as looking anti-competitive. They don't want to, you know, they don't want to have to change the way they do things. They don't want to have to resort to being more inventive and creative in the way they do their business strategy to compete with Xbox in, you know, as a result of this acquisition. They want to do what they've always done, which is just sit on top of Xbox, right? And it's so funny because they initially were the first ones to get offered a 10-year deal. They shot it down. And then all these, you know, funny enough, the next company to be offered right after that was Nintendo. And Nintendo was like, we'll take it, you know, 10-year deal. And then it was all these other 10-year deals came out. And Sony's sitting there with their hands, like they're like the only company without one, right? And I think what this does actually is it makes Microsoft look really good, and it makes Sony look really ridiculous. And I said this when we first found this article, but I mean, if the shoe was on the other foot, do you think that Sony would have offered Microsoft another 10-year deal? And don't get me wrong, this is a hypothetical situation. I don't see Sony trying to buy Activision Blizzard or anything like that. But in this potential type of situation, with the way Sony acts and addresses all this stuff, I don't see Sony being as nice about this as Microsoft and Xbox are, you know, in turning around and going, yo, we know you tried to stomp out this deal and you turned down the 10-year deal in the first place, but, you know, whatever. Here's another 10-year deal. It's over, you lost, but it's okay. We'll give you another 10-year deal. We'll let Call of Duty be on your platform. I don't think Sony would have done the same thing for Microsoft had the shoe been on the other foot. I've got to say. I really don't think so. Random mode time, get him in there. But that's just my own assumption there. I don't know for a fact. Phil Spencer reveals binding agreement to keep Call of Duty on PlayStation. Following the intense legal battle against the FTC, Microsoft came out on top and removed what could be considered the last real barrier to acquiring Activision Blizzard. There is still the UK's Competition and Markets Authority to contend with, but Microsoft and Xbox are looking confident. Yeah, it'll be done very soon, I think. Honestly, I think that sometime this week that'll be taken care of, and we will start seeing all this new content be rolled out very, very soon. From Activision Blizzard, we'll start seeing a lot of this new content from those developers be on Xbox's platform, especially subscription service and stuff, very, very soon. That's my thought. It was just minutes ago that Xbox's Phil Spencer hit the newswire revealing an all-new binding agreement between Microsoft and PlayStation that'll ensure Call of Duty remains on PlayStation moving forward. Are we all friends now? It's not immediately clear if it's a 10-year deal like the ones that were signed with Nintendo a while back or if it's a permanent offering, but it's a step in the right direction. For the longest time, one of the biggest concerns of this record $69 billion acquisition was the suggestion that Microsoft would be able to control some of the biggest franchises in gaming, notably Call of Duty, and it would have the power to strip the series from PlayStation's platforms. In confident words, Phil Spencer spoke about signing this landmark agreement following the acquisition of Activision Blizzard, so in his mind, it's already a done deal. So this is Phil Spencer's tweet from yesterday. We are pleased to announce that Microsoft and at PlayStation have signed a binding agreement to keep Call of Duty on PlayStation following the acquisition of Activision Blizzard. We look forward to a future where players globally have more choice to play their favorite games. I don't think Sony would have done that. I really don't. Expanding on the topic, the vice chair and president of Microsoft, Brad Smith, went public highlighting that it was always the intention of Microsoft to remain focused on ensuring that Call of Duty remains available on more platforms and for more consumers than ever before. This news is a welcome topic following several months of ongoing debates, cases, nice ferret, depositions, and statements issued across the wire by some of the biggest tech and gaming firms on earth. It's been a long road, but we're nearing its end. Yes, we are. Thank God. It's been a long one, dude. This was the beginning of last year that this all kicked off, you know. It's been a long road, like about a year and a half now. We've been dealing with this entire situation, waiting for it to conclude, and thank God it's almost over. Sony agrees to the 10-year deal. Yeah, I don't think we need to read this one, but Jim Ryan from Phil Spencer. Yo, look at this. Oh, let's read this. This is some better info right here. Yeah, the 10-year deal that we just talked about. While Microsoft's initial announcement doesn't mention 10 years for the Call of Duty on PlayStation, Kari Perez, head of global communications at Xbox, confirmed the 10-year commitment to The Verge. Perez later confirmed, so this is apparently a 10-year deal, just like all the other ones. To The Verge, the deal is only for Call of Duty, though. That makes the deal similar to a 10-year agreement between Microsoft and Nintendo, but not the various deals Microsoft has struck with NVIDIA and other cloud gaming platforms to bring Call of Duty and other Xbox Activision games to rival services. Right. Microsoft's original deal offered to Sony in January included keeping all existing Activision console titles on Sony. Oh, really? Including future versions in the Call of Duty franchise or any other current Activision franchise on Sony through December 31st of 2027. The deal terms have clearly changed since that opening offer, with an extension to 10 years that's limited to just Call of Duty. Oh, yo, it's kind of a slap in the face to him, too. This is great. Sony knows they lost, and they almost have to accept this because Call of Duty's so big. But it's also Microsoft going, yo, you should have taken the original deal. This is fantastic, dude. This is so funny. Yeah. So this was, if you look, this is May of last year, right? So May of last year, this is from Phil Spencer to Jim Ryan, okay? Jim, I'm writing to follow up on our prior discussions about Microsoft's intent to honor all existing agreements between Activision and Sony and our desire to keep Call of Duty on PlayStation. As you'll recall, on January 31st of 2022, I sent you a written agreement with my signature memorializing Microsoft's commitments to Sony. Among other things, the proposed agreement provided that Microsoft would keep all existing Activision console titles on Sony, including future versions in the Call of Duty franchise or any other current Activision franchise on Sony through December 31st of 2027. I've said before that this is the right thing to do for gamers and for the industry, and I stand by that. Part of an email from Xbox chief Phil Spencer mentioning Microsoft's original Sony offer. Sony had resisted signing a Call of Duty deal with Microsoft after the company first offered a 10-year contract in December of 2022. Instead, in filings to regulators, Sony has reportedly maintained that it fears Microsoft could make Call of Duty exclusive to Xbox or even sabotage the PlayStation versions of the game. We heard a bombshell email from PlayStation chief Jim Ryan read out in court during the FTC versus Microsoft hearing, revealing that he wasn't actually worried about Call of Duty. Yeah, we read that. Wasn't actually worried about Call of Duty exclusivity and was pretty sure we will continue to see Call of Duty on PlayStation for many years to come. So it was also revealed that an August 26th email last year from Phil Spencer to Jim Ryan included a list of Activision games that would remain on PlayStation, and Ryan wasn't happy. Quote, it was not a meaningful list. This list represented a particular selection of older titles that would remain on PlayStation. For example, Overwatch is on there, but Overwatch 2 is not on there. Current version of the game. You can't even play Overwatch. You can't even play Overwatch anymore. It's only Overwatch 2. Is Jim Ryan an idiot? I'm not wrong, right? I'm not misremembering this. You can't actually even play Overwatch 1 anymore, right? You can only play Overwatch 2. When did Overwatch... But I mean, we knew that was going to be the case for a long time. We would have to go back and see. This was from August of last year. When did Overwatch 2 hit? At the end of last year, right? It's an old quote. Yeah, Cash, what's up, buddy? It's an old quote. It's from end of August of last year. When did Overwatch 2 hit? Like November? Is that when it hit last year? November, around that time frame, right? Well, here's the fact though. We knew before it even released that it was all going to be converting Overwatch 1 to Overwatch 2, and you weren't going to be able to play Overwatch 1 though. People, just us as gaming aficionados, knew that. That wasn't like hush hush information. Yeah, so that this quote's from like 2 months before Overwatch 2 released. I'm pretty sure we had all that info by that time. So it was not a meaningful list. Less represented a particular selection of older titles that would remain on PlayStation. For example, Overwatch is on there, but Overwatch 2 is not on there. The current version of the game. And this is the end of August. And again, I know that Overwatch 2 wasn't out yet, but it was coming. And we had a lot of information by that point already. And we already knew that the game was converting from Overwatch 1 to Overwatch 2, and you wouldn't be able to play Overwatch 1 anymore. I'm pretty sure at that point we already knew that. I'm fairly positive. Because it's not like Blizzard was like hiding that fact or anything. Yeah, I guess maybe, but yeah, I guess it could be. He could have been just stating it that way, I guess. Yeah, I guess you're right. Yeah, I guess so. Right. Yeah. That makes sense then. Yeah. I was just thinking about it the wrong way. Thanks, Cash. Ryan wasn't happy about Spencer going public with the contract negotiations and said the offer was inadequate on many levels, failed to take account of the impact on our gamers. Ryan also said at the time that he hadn't intended to comment on what I understood to be a private business discussion, but I feel the need to set the record straight because Phil Spencer brought this into the public forum. Right. Exactly. Yeah. Could have been that. Yeah. Because yeah, again, it didn't explicitly state Overwatch 2, so there's probably concerns there is all he was getting at. Yeah. I'm sure you're right. Yeah. I was reading into it incorrectly, I'm sure. Tensions over the fate of Microsoft's Activision Blizzard deal really came to a head when Jim Ryan spoke to Activision CEO Bobby Kotick, dude, on February 21st, same day Microsoft, Activision, Sony, and others were meeting with EU regulators. Right. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah, dude. Yeah. Right. Yeah. Ryan said to Kotick, I don't want a new Call of Duty deal. I just want to block your merger. See, this is, I mean, we all knew that this is what PlayStation was doing the whole time. Jim Ryan confirmed the meeting during the testimony in the FTC versus Microsoft hearing. I told him, Bobby Kotick, I thought the transaction was anti-competitive. I hoped that the regulators would do their job and block it. Kotick had apparently wanted to cover himself with an extended Call of Duty deal with Sony just in case the Microsoft transaction didn't go through. At the same time, Microsoft was waving around a contract in front of the world's media trying to tempt Sony into signing a deal. Microsoft has always maintained it would keep Call of Duty on PlayStation, arguing it doesn't make financial sense to pull the game from Sony's consoles. Xbox's chief Phil Spencer, tried to settle the argument in November before appearing in court last month and reiterating under oath that Call of Duty would remain on PlayStation 5. Look, this just makes Microsoft look good all the way around. It makes them look like they are a good gaming company. It makes them look like they're trying to help everybody out. That's what this does, right? They're not dumb, dude. They know what they're doing. That's really all we need. But what's funny here is, like, again, So for the company that was first offered a 10-year deal to shut it down because they didn't feel, they wanted to make this whole thing look anti-competitive the whole time. We knew what was going on. We knew that was why they were doing it from the get-go. The initial 10-year deal was probably way better than what they're going to get now, But it's nice to see Microsoft after this deal is basically, this deal is wrapping up. It's almost done. The UK regulatory committee is the last one it's a small hurdle. They're figuring it out. It's almost done. And then this is all going to be taken care of. And it's kind of comedy to see it come back around and for them to go, hey, no hard feelings. We'll give you a 10-year deal, but it's not going to be that 10-year deal we were going to give you in the first place. And that's where this next article comes into play. Crash Bandicoot, Tony Hawk can become Xbox exclusives despite the new Call of Duty deal. A lot of Activision franchises could be going Xbox exclusive. Future Activision games outside of Call of Duty might not come to PS5, and Crash Bandicoot and Spyro fans can't get their heads around the news. So, had PlayStation agreed to terms on that first 10-year agreement, this probably wouldn't have been the case, right? But now, Xbox is going to take a lot of those titles that they can make their own first-party proprietary titles and remove them from PlayStation. Yesterday, Microsoft and Sony announced a binding 10-year deal to keep Call of Duty on PlayStation consoles, which we just talked about. The Verge was able to clarify that the deal is exclusive, which is the article we just read. Deal is exclusively limited to Call of Duty and Call of Duty only. So, everybody can understand that, basically what this means is, and we've even been, speculating, World of Warcraft coming to consoles and stuff like that. That's what they're talking about, right? Even World of Warcraft players bemoaning the fact that its console release could be limited to Xbox platforms, right? Dude, Microsoft and Xbox have a massive sales and marketing division, and they're going to be assessing all of this new content they have and whether it's more beneficial to them to try and get it in as many hands profit-wise for on across as many platforms as possible, or whether it's more beneficial to them to just keep it as a proprietary title for them moving forward for just PC and Xbox and their cloud and subscription services, right? Nobody knows exactly what is going to happen with all of it. We know what's going on with Call of Duty, but it's going to take us time to find out what they're going to do with all the rest of this portfolio that they're bringing in, all these IPs they're getting from Activision Blizzard. But you can bet on the fact that there are a lot of these notable titles that have quite often been known to be PlayStation titles in the past that are going to become Xbox titles now. Xbox, PC, and Xbox service titles, whether it be cloud or subscription service stuff. And this is going to be kind of wild to see how all this plays out. Dude, Cash, me either, bro. I know it doesn't. It makes you feel like you should whisper that. That's one of those games where I feel like I should be whispering that, and you don't say that out loud, right? It's that's one of those games where I don't like admitting that. I don't like admitting that, it makes me feel weird. I feel like that's one of those things I should be whispering to people so that they don't yell at me and things, But there's going to be some crazy stuff coming out here with figuring this out. And look, hey, you're winning, dude. You're doing better than I am. Here's the thing. With World of Warcraft, what I was saying earlier too, World of Warcraft, they're already looking at getting the console version of this going. And what it does is that's a big play. World of Warcraft. You talk about Call of Duty being a unique title, so is World of Warcraft. It's not as unique as Call of Duty probably, but it's still a very, very unique title. And what it can do potentially for bringing in more to their subscription service, because what you can do is you can make it a subscription service title. I don't know how much people are paying a month for what is monthly World of Warcraft? Reaches more gamers. Absolutely. Absolutely. And what it does is it also could, because, obviously this opens doors for Xbox and Microsoft for some of the more stuff they're trying to do with gaming, right? Like an app store and things like that. But, their golden goose has been and is still going to be, especially on the Xbox front, is their subscription service, right? And so I totally can see them making World of Warcraft a Xbox and PC part of, or accessible title through Game Pass as well. Yeah. 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 So I don't know. They'll figure it out. Like I said, I mean, they've got, but they want those subscription numbers. They want subscriber base jacked. You know what I mean? And that's a big potential thing for them right there. Just World of Warcraft alone. Not to mention all the other plethora of titles that they'll be able to add to Game Pass just off of Activision Blizzard's portfolio. That'll be a big deal for the subscriber base. But that alone also, you know what I mean? The World of Warcraft thing, if they figure that out, that could be a huge bump for them, dude. Easy Game Pass. Tell you right, dude. Vanilla WoW? Yeah, dude. Vanilla WoW? Super easy, dude. No doubt. Yep. So we'll see what they do with it. They've got a lot of options. We've got a lot, but it's funny to see what they've done here with Sony. You know, kind of wild. Kind of wild. That's the news, guys. That's the news. Great news segment. Appreciate it. Let's get us a banger going real quick. What are we gonna listen to? Um, I don't even know, dude. That'll work. Honey schmony. Nice, dude. Yeah, agreed. We're gonna go play Dave the Diver. What is this, day 9 for us, dude? I think it's day 9 of Dave the Diver, man. Yeah, I'm right. I know what's going on. Dave the Diver, day 9. We're gonna go play some games and stuff. But it was a good news segment. I appreciate you guys. Thanks for being the amazing people you are, being a part of what we do. A bit of some weirdness to the beginning of this news segment, and I'll just reiterate to people that I only ever want everybody to feel welcome and safe and respected in this community. It doesn't mean there might not be some conflict from time to time, but I'll do everything I can to alleviate those kinds of situations. And especially if it has anything to do with myself. And if anybody feels like I've ever done anything to wrong them, I'll be the first person to apologize for that kind of stuff. But I do I expect that to be reciprocated, and I have no issue admitting whenever I might be wrong and apologizing for doing something wrong. And I'll be very quick to do that kind of thing. But I just expect the same kind of respect and consideration from everybody that's part of what we do here. So, that's all I can really say. And I'm human. There's the potential for me to make mistakes, just like there's potential for anybody else to make mistakes. But I'm always going to do my very best to make sure this community remains a safe place for everybody to be a part of, where we can have fun and enjoy each other's company. And just know that. And if there's ever anything you need to talk to me about, anybody that's part of this community, I'm just hit me up in a message, DM me or whatever, and we'll sort it out, whatever the case may be. You know, that's all it takes. I just expect things to be civil, and that's all it really comes down to, you know. So you guys are amazing. I know, you know, the majority of people that are on the constant, that part of what we do here, that's who we are, that's what we do. But sometimes there are occasions that arise that I think make it necessary for me to reiterate those kinds of ideas, you know. And to everybody that is on the constant, being just good, cool peeps that help make this community what it is, based upon those kinds of sentiments, and make it a cool place for all of us to hang out and appreciate each other's company, and be welcoming and accepting and safe for everybody and each other. Then, you know, I can't thank you enough for that. But we'll move on to do some gaming. You guys rock. I appreciate you very much. If anybody is checking out this content now or later on, and you're enjoying it, then you know, come hang out with us. We go live at 6 a.m. CST every single day besides Wednesdays. Oh, I know, Kat. And we always start off with video gaming news before we dive into whatever gaming content we have for the rest of the day. We start off at 6 a.m. CST. That'd be 4 a.m. Pacific, 7 a.m. Eastern. We've got a lot of our other content on the YouTube channel, as far as YouTube channel, as well as the Twitch channel, and playlists for previous video gaming news segments, playthroughs we've done of games, clips and highlights of funny things that have happened, just stuff like that. So if you're enjoying any of that content or this right now, just come hang out with us, man. We'd like to have more cool people that are like-minded be a part of what we do, man. All right. Other than that, stay healthy, stay safe, be kind to one another, and we will be back at it for video gaming news tomorrow with July 18th edition. All right.